Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Thought for Shabbat. So glad you're here today. This week, we read the Torah portion known as Yitro, which is the Ten Commandments. And I thought we'd do a little lesson on the Ten Commandments. First, we're going to start with a quiz. How many of us listening to this can name the Ten Commandments? Forget the order. We'll get to that in a minute. How many of us can actually name them? See if you can do it. 1, 4, 5. Not sure what the number is, but let me read them to you and just give you a little information about each of them. And I would suggest this Shabbat, seeing if there is one commandment you can focus on and make it part of your life, and make it a 10-week project in which you take one of the 10 commandments and you make it a part of your life. Here we go. Commandment number 1 says, I am the Lord thy God who brought thee out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. That's not a commandment. That's a statement. It's a statement that says, I am God, because you have to have an authority figure, a powerful figure, if you will, who will tell us what's right and what's wrong, who will enforce the law. That's the establishment clause, if you will, that tells us why we need to obey the other commandments. In Christianity, actually, the first commandment is the next one, and that is, you shall have no other gods before me, you shall not make any graven images. And in Christianity, they separate those two. But in Judaism, that's our second commandment, the first one being, I am the Lord your God. The third, thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain. And this really is not about swearing, saying God blankety blank, but it's rather about not using God as collateral. I swear to God, Mom, I'll clean my room. Well, if you swear to God and then you don't clean your room, you have just thrown God under the bus. It's also why we say, I swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Because that is the standard bearer for what is right and what is wrong. Number 4, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Yes, so important for us to celebrate Shabbat. In fact, in the book of Deuteronomy, where the 10 Commandments are repeated, the word changes from remember the Sabbath day to observe the Sabbath day. And some suggest that's why we light 2 candles, one for remembering and one for observing. Number 5, honor thy mother and father. Actually, honor thy father and thy mother. Let's do that this weekend. Whether they are alive or have passed away, take a moment to think about your parents. Thou shalt not murder is number 6. This is a very important commandment because in Hebrew, there's different words, one for murder and one for kill. Murder is with malice aforethought. A soldier certainly would not be disobeying this if they sadly killed somebody in battle. Self-defense and other situations like that are not against the 10 Commandments. But it's when you viciously and premeditatedly murder somebody, then that would be a violation of this commandment. Number 7, thou shalt not commit adultery. The family unit being the core of society. Thou shalt not steal, speaks for itself. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor is number 9. And that goes back to that courtroom setting, that you have a responsibility to be sure that you do not impose your thoughts on something. It has to be factual. It has to be true. You cannot bear false witness. And the last one is really fascinating. It says, number 10, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor or anything that thy neighbor has. So why would the Torah mandate a feeling? All the others are kind of actions. Why would it mandate a feeling? Because the commentators say, if you covet, it will lead to all the other disobeying of the commandments. Thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal. If you can control your covetous nature, it will prevent you from disobeying those other commandments. I could go on and on and on. I love the 10 Commandments. Pick one this week, try and do it all week long, or this Shabbat, and one next week, and a different one the third week, till we get to 10 weeks, and see if they are incorporated in your life, A, and B, commit them to memory. They're a good thing to know. Thanks so much. Please join us tonight for services at 7 p.m. As we celebrate Shabbat with one another, and as we have the pleasure, really, of giving the Bob Wolf Community Service Award to Jim Worrell, one of our great volunteers here at Temple. Thanks so much, all. Have a great Shabbat and a wonderful weekend. Stay well.